Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. It's Miss Universe season. The finale is in just 2 more days. And while, yes, the pageant has been going on for about a week now, I have just gotten the chance to be able to film a video and talk about the Miss Universe pageant. Somehow this season has been so hectic. And while I have been following the pageant, of course, because Divita Rai and I go way back, we actually were grooming for our pageants together back in 2018. So I've been consistently following ever since she was appointed as Miss Universe India, her preparation and her journey, and also other Miss Universe delegates as well. And I'm really excited about the pageant. I just came back home last night and this morning woke up early morning to watch the preliminary competition as well as the national costume round, and I have a lot to say about it. So without rambling on too much, I'm gonna dive straight into what are my thoughts on the prelims as well as who are my top 15 delegates. So the 71st Miss Universe preliminary competition happened just this morning as of India time, and it did meet up to the expectations that were set by Anne. We were expecting a blue colored themed production, as Anne had mentioned in one of her interviews, and we definitely got to see that on the backdrop. I'm really excited to see what the finale will be like as well. But one thing that we noticed in this edition of Miss Universe preliminary was the shape of the stage. It was very different from last year's stage structure, and it was hardly giving any space to the contestants to walk forward, both in the national costume as well as the swimsuit, in which we had the new personally designed capes, which I will talk about it in a moment. But I feel that overall I liked last year's Miss Universe preliminary better, just because there was more to watch of the contestants. So those are my initial thoughts about how the competition was. Other than that, lights, sound, production, it was all spectacular. I just wish it was more about the contestants and that they were given more surface area to maybe just show their ramp walk skills as well, because firstly, walking horizontally, stopping and making sure that the cape is visible, and also being asked to walk in a semicircular shape, it was just a lot of complicated things. And I know even after a lot of practice, that is a shape of stage that does make you nervous. And so I could see that there was a step also on the stage during the evening gown round, and there was just a lot going on. So they did make it really challenging, I feel, for the contestants. But despite all of these things, there are a few contestants who have made it to my top 15, and they did not allow any shape stage, any light, any cape or anything to get in the way of their performance. So now, in no particular order, I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorites, and towards the end I will also share the other 5 contestants who have made it to my top 15, and I also have a couple of cape favorites as well. Going by alphabetical order, the first contestant that stood out to me in the preliminary competition, who I had honestly not noticed until now that much, is Angola. I did not see that coming, but I am so impressed by her. In the swimsuit round particularly, the way she handled the cape, she was one of the first contestants whose cape handling I was actually impressed by. And now if you follow Luciara on Instagram, I do. So she was talking about what is the best way to handle the cape in this particular scenario, especially when you also have to display the message that you want to put out through the cape. And so it's super important to actually let the wind come beneath the cape and it to occupy the whole surface area. And Angola did that beautifully with one hand on her waist and one hand on the cape. She made sure that it was not affecting her walk, that the cape was visible, and that she had that energy that is required in the swimsuit round. And when she came out in the evening gown round, that glittery gown, that slit, the turn, and the way she had tied up her hair, which is actually not something we see a lot in evening gown rounds, chef's kiss, but I loved her performance. And she's definitely someone I am looking forward to seeing in the finale because her stage presence is on point. The next contestant that stood out to me is Bolivia. I loved her equally in the swimsuit, where she actually slows down at center stage, and I actually loved her cape as well. It was the most unique cape to me, and when I saw her do that sequence at center stage, both at swimsuit as well as evening gown round, to me, it came across as if this is something that she has practiced a lot and she has perfected. to get to that level of perfection. I saw that in Bolivia, and the way she actually knows how to style her hair differently. Because one of the things that I was noticing is, while this time the capes were beautifully designed and that was a new element, what I felt a lot of contestants had not probably kept in mind is that when your hair is on the back, it also covers a bit of the design of the cape. And so I was hoping for the contestants to keep that in mind and maybe tie their hair up or have a hairstyle in a way that doesn't really block the design, or keep the design on the lower end of the cape, so that if your design is actually closer to your shoulders, you don't actually end up covering everything that is the message because of your hair. And Paraguay actually did an amazing job at this. She did flip her hair to the front so that she can show the complete design of the cape, and the only contestant that did that in swimsuit round. So hats off to Paraguay, because that is just smart thinking. After Bolivia, I had a bunch of favorites, but then the dilemma to put them on the list was I did not find their swimsuit and evening gown performance to be consistently or equally amazing. And so for that reason, I have my doubts about Brazil at the moment, although I love her personality. But in swimsuit round, she just wasn't what I was expecting her to be, but then she was incredible in the evening gown round. Same with Costa Rica as well. In fact, Costa Rica looks like an Andrea Misa lookalike to me a little bit. I'm not sure if anyone else also feels the same, but do you also see the resemblance? If you do, please drop that in the comment section below, because I've been looking at her this whole time and thinking that she's just like Andrea. Also, when Costa Rica opened up her hair on stage in the evening gown round, we have to talk about that moment, because that's something I've never seen done before. And I loved that moment, but then I felt that it actually looked fine when it was tied as well. And that's something I would want to see someone pull off in the swimsuit round rather than the gown round, which is a lot more elegant. But I do admire the courage whenever a contestant tries to do something entirely new on stage. So really impressed with the guts to be able to do that. My next favorite, however, who has made it to my top 10 list is Curacao, and I do expect this country to be getting placed this year. I think she's one of the best delegates that we have seen in the recent years from the country. The look that she gives when she turns around with the cape at center stage was so on point. She just serves face, and even with the evening gown round, she was one of the first contestants who came in with a banging entry onto stage. To be able to handle the gown like that takes a lot of courage and also a lot of practice. So hats off to Curacao, because I am in love with her beauty, her personality, her aura, and she knows how to just own the stage. The next contestant who has stood out consistently during the prelims, and I definitely see her in top 10 at the finale, has to be Dominican Republic. This country has been sending amazing delegates in the last couple of years, but that pink gown for me, oh my god, paired with those pink heels, it was such a moment. I loved the design of the gown. It was so unique with the collar, if you can call it that, but it was super powerful. It was putting out a statement which was very unlike all the other glittery sequin feminine gowns that we see, and that sleek high bun suited her so well. I love when contestants play with bold colors, and here Dominican Republic absolutely slayed. My next favorite for the prelims is Great Britain. This lady has been surprising me since day one with each and every outfit choice in a good way. During the swimsuit round, I loved the way she smiled, and it was just such a sweet smile, and it just goes with her personality. You feel that aura of warmth when she looks at you, and she carried forward that aura in the pink evening gown with that high slit, looked super sexy. She carried forward that same vibe and energy, and the look that she gave, it was just slow, smooth confidence for me. And she's showing us different sides of her personality every day, even with her interview outfit. So I've become a great fan of Great Britain. The next country that made it to my favorites is Peru. Now, I did think a lot before putting Peru on the list, but I feel like she did justice to both the rounds, and with her blonde hair, those beachy waves that she has, she looks like a Victoria's Secret model to me, and it looks like she was just naturally born to be on the stage. And when it came to the evening gown round, now I really wish Peru had given her a better gown. As much as I loved the design of the gown, I did have my doubts regarding the fitting and the way she was walking with those red heels as well. I liked the styling, but I just felt that maybe the gown was not as per her body type, but it did flatter her skin tone so beautifully. When she came to the front, I wasn't even looking at the gown. I was just looking at her face and her beauty. And after so much thought, I still think Peru does deserve to be in top 10. After Peru, we saw Philippines come out. I have been a fan of Celeste. I've just learned that her name is Celeste and not Celeste. And she's been blowing our minds. You guys know Philippines, it's always a moment when Philippines comes out, but she absolutely nailed the swimsuit round. That strut that she did with her leg out after the cape, it was so good with her face. And also the contrast between her personality in the swimsuit and evening gown round, and that's something that really impresses me every time, because if you walk the same way in both rounds, we don't really see a lot of versatility. But with Celeste, I feel that she's always bringing her most authentic self onto stage, just like her interview outfit. Oh my god, she chose to wear a men's suit. I have been reading online about how a lot of people felt that Philippines gown could have been more dramatic, but I think it was her moment. It suited her beautifully. She did it justice, and it was about her and it was not so much about the gown. And also, the reason she chose the sky blue gown is because her name Celeste itself means blue, and I think that is such a beautiful thing, as long as the gown helps her represent herself, because that's what you're there for, and it's not a fashion show. And I am so sure that we're gonna see Philippines make it to top 10 or perhaps even top 5. It would not be a surprise for me. Okay, so this next country that I am a huge fan of, I mean, that's one country that I am waiting to see her come out on stage. This one has to be Puerto Rico. Her swimsuit moment, just the way she entered and did that hair flip, I was so swept by that. And it reminded me of the iconic Gigi Hadid hair flip moment. So I really liked that. And in fact, even after that, I wasn't mad at her for her hair covering her cape, just because of the overall energy, and she didn't let it affect anything. And then her gown. My favorite gown of the entire competition, I have to say, just because I'm such a huge sucker for those collar necklines. It reminded me of the Dominican Republic, but then she brought that into this sequin gown that she was wearing, and she was shining like a diva. In fact, it was so sexy. It was just suiting her personality, and I saw a pageant page actually refer to this as bad bitch energy, which I liked, but in a good way. So I really do think, yes, that is Puerto Rico's energy. And in fact, it reminded me of Miss Universe Venezuela from 2018, I believe. That's the vibe I get from Puerto Rico this year. The 8th country that has made it to my top 10 is South Africa. I feel that she just lights up a room when she walks in, and she did the same thing on stage as well. I loved her more in the swimsuit round, I have to say. But in the evening gown round as well, I was very impressed by the headgear that she decided to add to the overall look. And she was again wearing one of those colors that was a very new color. In fact, this season we saw so many people go for golden brown as a shade, and so it was a very unique color to be wearing for a gown, but I think that she looked absolutely stunning in that outfit. However, I felt that the gown did make it a little difficult for her to walk, and the turn that she did in the end, in fact, a lot of people I noticed this time, the contestants, so many of their turns were reminding me of Catriona. I'm not sure if that's just something I was feeling or was it intentional. But then she does go into a slant position at the end, and so that was slightly different. But I felt that it was either the fabric or it was just the fitting of the gown that made it a little impossible for South Africa to take really long strides in that gown. And I feel that is something that countries should always think about, because whenever you're wearing that design and that fit of a gown, if the stage has a step, it does become difficult for the candidate to maneuver and just carry that outfit on a stage which is newly built, can be slippery, and now you have stairs added as well. But South Africa handled it beautifully, and I definitely see her making it to top 10. Next favorite on my list has to be USA. I loved the color code combination, in fact the matching combination of the swimsuit and the cape during her swimsuit round and during her evening gown as well. There is no doubt that USA has stood out when it comes to her wardrobe every single time. Definitely one to watch out for, in my opinion. And my last favorite, who has made it to my list of top 10, is Venezuela. I have been so impressed by this girl when I heard that she's a fashion designer herself, and the fact that she herself made her interview outfit and also her gown that she wore during the evening gown round as well had the same type of design with the sleeves. There have been mixed opinions online again regarding the green sleeves that she chose to add to the outfit, but I think that it was just something that is unique. We are slightly bored of seeing the same sequin pretty gowns, and I feel that it was adding a lot of personality, and that is what added the whole dramatic effect to what she could do with the swirls and the turns in the evening gown round. In fact, her cape pattern was also very intricate, and when I saw that, and I know these capes are going on auction later, my first reaction to it was I would buy that cape because the pattern was so detailed and it did put out the message beautifully of stopping child abuse. So these countries have made it to my top 10. Now there are 5 countries that I was not able to push to top 10, but I do hope to see them in the top 15 during the finale, and those countries are India. It is my home country, but I have to be honest, when I saw the preliminary today, I have been rooting for Divita, and she is a strong candidate, but to get to that Q&A round, you need to be one of the standout candidates during these competitions as well. I just felt that I saw a lot more smoother choreographies and more confidence at that particular turn in other candidates. And also with the evening gown round, I agree, it was one of those same designs just like South Africa wore, which restricts your movement, and it did create issues. So whenever I see some gowns like that, my reaction to that is, where is the slit? This is not Miss World, this is Miss Universe. Make it sexy. Let's not stick to culture and tradition, maybe not in this round. Just give us glam. Not just does it look incredible on stage, but having a slit just makes it so much easier for a contestant to walk and just feel like a Miss Universe. The next country that I also hope to see in top 15 is Mexico. I really did like her performance, but she was just not strong enough for me to push her to top 10. The next one is Brazil, whose interview went fabulous. I'm sure about that, and I love her personality, but just on stage, I felt something was lacking. I could not be blown away by either the swimsuit performance or the evening gown. So we don't know if it's a matter of stage presence or was it just the shape of the stage, but I am hoping to see more of Brazil, and so I'm putting her in my top 15. After that, I also have Mauritius on my list. Mauritius has been impressing me throughout the competition, and while I didn't love her in the swimsuit round, but I did feel that her evening gown round performance was extremely strong. So fingers crossed, I want her to make it and get placed in the finale. And the last country that made it to top 15 for me has to be Ghana. I've been loving her, but I just feel like I need to see a little more of her to be absolutely sure about her placement. But she has done consistently well both in swimsuit and evening gown as well. And so those are my top 15 favorites based on the preliminary competition. I will be putting out more videos where I will talk about my national costume favorites as well as my cape favorites alone, regardless of the performance, just the cape designs. So do remember to subscribe to this channel and turn on the notification bell and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed Miss Universe related content, because I will be putting out more videos now that I am home. And also let's discuss who are your favorites and what was your favorite part about the preliminary competition. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye bye.